You walk into a room, and nothing shifts. No one looks up. No one pauses. No one feels your presence. You speak, and someone interrupts. You explain, and people lose interest. You try harder, and respect seems to move further away, not because you lack intelligence, not because you lack potential, but because your presence is not communicating strength. And tonight, you're going to understand exactly why. If you're a man who refuses to live invisible, like, share, and subscribe, because strong men don't ask for respect. They generate it without speaking. Respect rarely disappears in dramatic moments. It disappears quietly, through patterns so small you barely notice them. Letting someone interrupt you without finishing your thought. Laughing off disrespect you actually felt. Avoiding conflict when something mattered. Apologizing when you did nothing wrong. Not one big failure. Just tiny withdrawals from your identity account. Confidence doesn't collapse overnight. It leaks slowly. And once people sense hesitation, uncertainty, or emotional instability, they unconsciously adjust how they treat you. This isn't cruelty. It's psychology. Humans constantly scan for stability signals. And when those signals disappear, respect fades automatically. The painful part? You can't argue your way back into respect, because respect is not logical. It's felt. And the reason this keeps happening is something most men never learn. Modern culture teaches men something dangerous. Respect comes from being agreeable. Be easy to work with. Be emotionally expressive. Be understanding. Be accommodating. It sounds mature, but it often produces men who are pleasant but powerless. Approval replaces authority. Comfort replaces direction. Niceness replaces strength. You're taught to avoid intensity, avoid confrontation, avoid dominance. But here's the contradiction. People don't respect harmlessness. They tolerate it. Respect requires predictable strength. Not aggression, not control, not loudness, strength. And strong men don't communicate strength with speeches. They communicate it with behavioral signals. That's the truth most men miss. Respect is biological before it is social. The human nervous system constantly evaluates. Is this person stable? Is this person decisive? Is this person predictable under pressure? These signals determine leadership perception, not words, not intentions, not personality. Behavior. Your posture communicates certainty. Your pacing communicates confidence. Your emotional regulation communicates safety. And when these signals align, people respond differently. They listen longer. They interrupt less. They trust more. This is not performance. This is identity expressed physically. And the man who masters this becomes something rare. The warrior who doesn't rush. The leader who doesn't over-explain. The builder who doesn't seek validation. The hunter who moves deliberately. He doesn't perform masculinity. He stabilizes environments. When tension rises, he slows down. When others panic, he becomes still. When decisions are needed, he chooses. And this identity is built through behavior. Here are 8 silent behaviors that generate respect. 1. Controlled stillness. Stillness signals certainty. Restlessness signals doubt. Most men don't realize their body is speaking before they ever open their mouth. When you constantly adjust your posture, tap your foot, scratch your face, shift your weight every few seconds, your nervous system is broadcasting. I'm uncomfortable. I'm unsure. I need approval. People may not consciously think it, but they feel it. And perception is everything. Now imagine the opposite. You're in a disagreement. Someone challenges you. You express weakness if you jump in immediately, you rush to defend, you talk over them. Your body moves faster than your mind. That speed feels emotional, and emotional actions feel unstable. Now the strong pattern. You stop. You don't react instantly. You inhale slowly. You hold eye contact. You let silence sit for a second longer than feels comfortable. Then you respond calmly. That pause changes everything because pauses signal control. Psychologically, when someone moves slower under pressure, our brain reads it as higher status. Why? Because urgency implies threat. Calm implies capability. Stillness communicates. I am not threatened. I am not shaken. I do not need to rush. And that perception builds respect without you demanding it. If you ignore this, your nervous system trains itself into reactivity. You become jumpy, defensive, easily rattled. And over time, people begin to sense instability, even if you never raise your voice. But when you practice controlled stillness, your body and mind align, your movements slow, your breathing deepens, your voice lowers naturally. Respect doesn't increase because you speak louder. It increases because you feel grounded. Stillness is not silence. It is presence under control. And presence under control is power. Number 2, decisive movement. Strong men decide quickly and calmly. Weak men delay decisions to avoid responsibility. Every decision you make tells your brain, I trust myself. Choosing the restaurant, making the plan, taking initiative at work. Small decisions build perceived leadership. Imagine you're planning to go on a date. She asks, so, where should we go? You respond, I don't know. What do you want to do? She shrugs. You choose. You hesitate. You scroll your phone. You suggest 3 options, then change your mind twice. Nothing dramatic happens. She doesn't complain, but something subtle shifts. Leadership disappears. Now imagine the same moment differently. She asks, so, where should we go? You say calmly, there's a great place 10 minutes from here. Let's go. No overthinking, no performance, no pressure, just direction. She relaxes instantly, not because the restaurant is perfect, but because certainty feels safe. That's the implication. Decision-making is not about control. It's about reducing uncertainty. And psychologically, humans respect the person who reduces uncertainty in a situation. Every small decision trains 2 things at once. Your self-trust. Other people's perception of your leadership. That's why small decisions matter. Not because the decision itself is important, but because identity is being built in the background. And over time, people don't just see you as a man who decides. They see you as a man who can be relied on. 3. Posture discipline. Your spine communicates confidence before your voice does. Shoulders back, head level, relaxed breathing. This isn't cosmetic. It's neurological. Your body posture affects testosterone. It affects cortisol. It affects perceived dominance signals. Walking into a room upright immediately changes how people respond to you. Ignoring posture reinforces submissive identity patterns, and respect follows physiology. You walk into a networking event. Same room, same people, same you. But your posture decides everything. You enter slightly hunched, shoulders rolled forward, head slightly down, phone in your hand. You scan the room nervously. Your steps are small. No one reacts. Not because they dislike you, because your body is signaling, I don't want to take up space. Now watch the strong version. You walk in upright, shoulders back, not stiff, head level, not arrogant, breathing steady, hands relaxed. You don't rush. You pause for half a second before moving forward. People glance at you. Why? Because posture signals certainty. This isn't cosmetic advice, it's neurological. When your spine is upright and your breathing is controlled, cortisol decreases, testosterone slightly increases, your nervous system stabilizes, your brain starts believing the posture, and others read the signal instantly. Humans evolved to detect dominance and submission physically first, before words, before personality. Posture communicates, I am comfortable here. Collapsed posture communicates, I'm unsure if I belong. And here's the dangerous part. When you ignore posture long enough, it reinforces a submissive identity pattern. Your brain adapts to smaller behavior. You think smaller, you move smaller, you speak smaller. Respect follows physiology. Because perception begins in the body, stand differently. And the world responds differently, not because you demanded attention, because you look stable enough to hold it. 4. Emotional regulation. Emotional control equals psychological strength. Reactive men feel unstable. Calm men feel reliable. Imagine you're in a meeting at work. A colleague says, I don't think this idea makes sense. Everyone looks at you. Your heart rate rises. Your ego wants to defend itself immediately. You interrupt. You raise your voice. You start explaining too fast. Now the room feels tense, not because of the criticism, but because of your reaction. People don't remember the idea anymore. They remember the emotion. Now the strong response. You pause. You breathe once. You say calmly, fair point. Let me clarify the reasoning. Your voice stays steady. Your posture stays still. The room settles. That pause does something powerful. It signals control. And control signals leadership. Psychologically, people trust the person who remains stable under pressure, not the person who reacts fastest. Reactivity destroys perceived stability faster than failure ever could. Failure can be respected. Emotional instability cannot, because people don't follow perfection. They follow stability, and emotional regulation is where that stability is built. If you want to understand this at a deeper level, especially how emotional stability affects attraction, relationships, and respect, read The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. It breaks down masculine presence, purpose, and emotional grounding in a way most men never hear explained. I left the link in the description. Now let's go deeper. 5. Selective attention. Strong men don't react to everything. Attention is power. Imagine you're out with a woman and a group of friends. Someone makes a passive-aggressive joke. Wow, you're really quiet tonight. Everyone looks at you. You defend yourself immediately. You start explaining. You try to prove you're confident. Now the focus shifts to your insecurity. But watch what selective attention looks like. You take a sip of your drink. You smile slightly. You keep the conversation moving. No emotional reaction. No explanation. No need to prove anything. Within seconds, the moment dies. Psychologically, this communicates something powerful. You don't need approval to feel stable. Selective attention tells people, I choose what deserves my energy. And that choice creates presence, because reacting to everything signals fragility. Ignoring small provocations signals control. Without selective attention, you look approval-driven. With it, you look self-directed, and people feel that difference immediately. Number 6, consistency. Consistency builds trust. Trust builds respect. Not big speeches, not grand promises, patterns. Waking up when you say you will. Finishing tasks you start. Showing up when you said you would. That's where masculine credibility is built. Imagine this. You tell a woman you'll call her later that night. You forget. You delay. You text the next day explaining why. Nothing dramatic happens, but something shifts. Your words lose weight. Now imagine the opposite. You call exactly when you said you would. Calm, simple, no performance. That moment communicates something deeper than attraction. Reliability. And reliability creates emotional safety. Psychologically, your brain is also learning something. My words mean something. Every time you follow through, your identity becomes more stable. But when consistency disappears, confidence becomes fragile. Because confidence is not built from motivation. It's built from evidence. Evidence that you do what you say. This shows up everywhere. At work, you deliver on time. At the gym, you show up even when tired. In relationships, you remain steady, not unpredictable. People don't trust intensity. They trust patterns. Consistency makes your presence feel solid. Without it, confidence becomes temporary. With it, confidence becomes identity. And once identity stabilizes, respect follows naturally. 7. Slower speech. Slow speech signals certainty. Fast speech signals insecurity. Authority is rarely loud, it is controlled. Imagine this. You're talking to a woman you like, and she asks, "So what do you actually do?" You rush. You over-explain. You fill silence with nervous details. Your words become noise instead of signal. Now, the strong version. You pause for a second. You answer clearly. You stop talking when the sentence is done. No rush, no filler, no apology in your tone. That pause communicates something powerful. I am comfortable being evaluated. Psychologically, silence signals confidence in status. The nervous brain rushes to avoid judgment. The grounded mind speaks only when needed. You see this everywhere. In meetings, in leadership, in conversations with women. The calmest speaker often controls the room, not because he talks more, but because his words carry weight. Fast speech often reveals fear of being misunderstood, fear of being judged, fear of losing attention, but slowing down communicates, I am not chasing approval. Even small pauses change perception. Pause before answering a question. Pause after making a point. Let silence do the work. Because silence is not awkward when you are certain. It becomes authority. Without pacing control, words lose impact. With pacing control, presence becomes unshakable. And finally, number 8, boundary presence. Boundaries communicate self-respect, not aggression, not control, not dominance, just clarity. Imagine this. You're talking in a group conversation. You start explaining something important, and someone keeps interrupting you. Once, twice, again, you stop talking. You smile it off. You let it go. Not because you agree, but because you don't want tension. In that moment, something subtle happens. Your brain learns. My voice is optional. Others learn. He can be talked over. Respect doesn't disappear loudly. It adjusts quietly. Now the strong version. The interruption happens again. You stay calm. You don't raise your voice. You don't show irritation. You simply say, "Let me finish." And then you continue speaking. No apology. No explanation. No emotional charge. Just boundary. This does something powerful psychologically. It signals, I value my words. I expect space. I am present. People rarely resist calm boundaries. They resist emotional ones. Because calm boundaries feel stable. Angry boundaries feel reactive. Weakness invites dismissal. And women especially notice this. Not consciously, instinctively, a man who can protect his space calmly can protect emotional stability too. Boundary presence is not about controlling others. It's about not abandoning yourself. And once you stop abandoning yourself, others stop ignoring you. Without boundaries, respect slowly collapses. With boundaries, presence becomes solid. Imagine a mountain. Storms hit it. Winds strike it. Seasons change around it. But it remains still, strong, unmoved. A mountain never argues for respect. Its presence creates it. Masculine strength works the same way. Stillness, consistency, control. Do you hesitate when speaking? Do you react emotionally? Do you avoid decisions? Do you over-explain? You already know. And awareness is where strength begins. 6 months from now, you should move differently, slower, calmer, certain. People listen when you speak. Interruptions disappear. Respect returns. Not because you demanded it, because your behavior changed. Confidence becomes quiet. Authority becomes natural. Presence becomes undeniable. Choose one behavior. Fix it today. Masculinity is built through repetition of controlled behavior. Stillness, calmness, consistency. Start now. If growth is your mission, show some love and hit the like and subscribe button.